Michael, over the past several months, we've been doing podcasts mainly focused towards our client base, talking about the Medicare space, changes, educating folks on how the plans work, what different terms, acronyms mean, anything we can do that questions arise and we have an answer and we say, you know what, that's some beneficial information. Let's talk about that on a podcast. Let's make that public. And it's been very helpful. People love it. We've had quite a number of viewers and followers, and it's really picking up some steam here. But today we want to focus on a Medicare agent, an independent Medicare agent, maybe that's been working by themselves. They might have a small agency, them and maybe an assistant or something like that, but they're wanting to do something bigger, better. Maybe they need some local support, and they want to be part of a team, and they just kind of sick of being on their own, nobody to call, nobody to bounce ideas off of. So I wanted to open up the conversation to that subject, basically. So what you thinking about all that?
Well, I think part of what kind of generated this conversation when you and I were talking about subject matter is if you look at the growth we've had over the last, I'm going to say 90 days to maybe back to the first of the year, we've added, multiple of 3.
We've got another one, ghost agent today. We just had somebody else pop up. I'll tell you about that after our podcast.
So I started thinking about, why are people contacting us? It's not that they know us personally, some of them personally, but I started thinking about the reason as we were interviewing somebody earlier in the week, like, what can we do for you? It's always a question, what do you need that you don't have? And so I think it goes back to, number one, they want to be part of something. They want to be part of a team because nobody wants, well, I shouldn't say no. There are people out there that they're fine just being by themselves and lone wolfing it, and they're good, okay? And we got a place for you if that's your thing. But I think that most people have a desire to be part of a team. And if both of us have worked in the corporate world, we've worked outside the corporate world. And I think what's appealing about what we do is that all of our agents, most of them are 1099 agents, where that means basically they don't have to do anything. All we do as an agency is we offer resources. So, it's always important to get down to, okay, what can we do for you? What are you missing? Yeah, what are you missing in your daily activity that maybe we can help you go to that next plateau, that next level? And so, we get into training. A lot of people will come to us and say, yeah, I know how to sell the Medicare side or life side, but I don't feel like I have some in-person training. And that can be difficult for some agencies because if they're an agency that have agents that scatter from New York to California, it's a little hard to do in person, so they rely on web training, and we certainly have that. Right. But I think one of the things that we offer that makes it a little beneficial is that we do in-person training. We have, especially a new agent has not done anything. We sit down with them, us or one of our team members sit down with them and say, okay, let's see where you are in the process. What don't you know? And so I think that they feel comfortable that we offer that in-person, personal touch training so that they can have that conversation. We're not so big that we can't do that.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, we're accessible.
First-hand training, in-person training, on-the-job training, you learn so much so quick that way. You can read books and watch videos all day long, but when you're sitting in it and you're in the middle of an appointment and you're overcoming obstacles, I think that is the best way to learn, especially for myself. Yeah, I've got ADD. I can't read a book, but when I'm doing something and I'm going through that experience with you and we're going through an appointment, I'm going to learn so much, take some notes, and, we did it. It was an experience. It wasn't just something I watched or read.
Well, and we take agents along with us on appointments. If we have appointments in the office, we invite them in. And what's really kind of unique about it is that we're able, in an appointment with a client, to explain to them in advance, hey, I've got John's going to sit in with us today. He's new and he wants to see how this is done. And I have stopped in the middle of a presentation and explained something because I've kind of let the client know, hey, there's somebody new here. Do you mind? And they're always saying, no, great. So we have the ability to do that. And then, once we get past that in-person training to where we feel like we can say, okay, you can go out and do it. we still are available to go on calls with them or observe, not say anything, just observe with them. So I think that's something unique that we can do that a lot of agencies either can't do or won't do. So
yeah, one of our new guys, I spoke with him, and he has a meeting tomorrow, and he's like, man, I might have a question for you. So I told him, I said, what time is your meeting? I'm gonna make sure I have my phone right in front of me for your meeting in case you have I want to be able to pick up and answer that call and answer his questions. And just having, like you said, that personal relationship, that local relationship, I think that's bar none. Yeah. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and the other important piece of this is although we're located in Baton Rouge, and that's where I'd say the bulk of our agents are located within a 60-mile radius of here, because there's plenty of clients here. We're not short of that. We do have agents out of state, but we give them the same attention. We have agents in Alabama. We have one in Florida. When they call, I know they're calling because they need something, not just checking on me.
Right.
So, we go out of our way to answer those calls, and they have access to us. They don't have to go through two people to get to us. They call us directly on our phones, and we'll answer that question. So talk about some of the platforms that we offer to our agents to take them, once they're trained. Okay, they're trained. Where do they go from here? So now I'm trained. Where do I go?
So we're trained. We're making some sales. How do we make that sale? So obviously you're going to meet people, do an appointment or what have you, but inputting applications, inputting scopes of appointments. Michael and I's goal is to support agents and brokers to make their lives easier and the process simpler. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do. We want to make your life easier
Number one.
And the process simpler, and obviously everybody be more successful and put a couple nickels in the bank. That's the end game, right? But in order to make it simpler, we have had to really dive into some different platforms that work technology-wise with your client base, your book of business, and the application process. So the first thing that we have is called Sunfire. Sunfire is a very nice technological platform to input applications. It looks up doctors for you, looks up medications. You could do electronic scopes of appointments and obviously electronic applications, and it's pretty darn seamless. We don't run into issues with Sunfire very often. The cool thing with Sunfire, whenever we learn something new, we love to spread it around to the whole team. And we just learned something new. It's not new. It's just a bell or a whistle, if you will, that we just learned about. It's a little link that we put on our email, and we can send it to a new client. Somebody just called out to us and said, hey, we want to meet up with you, discuss some Medicare options. We can email them this link, and they can pre-fill out their contact information, make a little profile, doctors, medications, and sign the scope of appointment digitally right there through the email, and it comes right back to us. So that's huge. That really, if you think about it from our time in this Medicare space, we've been here 15, 16 years now, you and I, that saves like a whole meeting. Usually we would meet them, do data collection, do a scope of appointment, and then we would have another appointment to get the enrollment process started.
Yeah, because the compliance says you have to have that scope done 48 hours in advance. Right. So that always throws a kink in the process, getting that done in advance. So generally, if somebody calls us and says, hey, John, I'd like to come meet with you and talk about Medicare, the first thing you can do is send that link, and they put all that information in there.
Right.
So like you said, we've eliminated that process, and compliance is a big issue. So that kind of handles that.
Yep. So that's one way to send it. You can also, if you want to, save that link, and we could show you how to do that, onto your notes if you have an iPhone, and you can text message that link, and they can fill it out via text message. So many different ways to get that form fill out to them. It just makes your life easier, less stress, and saves you a ton of time. Yeah. The cool thing with Sunfire is it actually works with our CRM, which is called Go High Level. CRM is a client relations manager. This is where you could send out text messages. You could check your members' plans, what contracts they're with. You could send out emails, whatever you need so you can communicate. You can use it just for organizational skills. But the cool thing with Sunfire is it feeds directly into Go High Level for most platforms, to where when you do an application, it takes that profile and automatically pre-fills it into Go High Level. And now you have a client profile in your CRM automatically.
You know, a lot of agents that we encounter, and we talk to them about what CRM are you using, and they look at you like, none.
And they're like, what?
And now because everything is so electronic, everything is so digital. We can actually conduct business if somebody can't come to the office or we can't get to them, and they want to do it completely online or over the phone. That CRM is critical, because all your information about that client is in there, their docs, their meds, their address, their Medicare information. So it just makes the process easier, but it also makes the agent more professional. You're not scratching on a notepad. It's all in there. So I think the CRM, as we can transition, agents that are already in the business that don't have that, our job when they get to us is to say, okay, we're going to introduce you to the CRM. There's no cost to you. We're going to put you, this in front of you, and we're going to help you move your clients into there. And when we do that, they look at it and like, why haven't I been doing that? Now, there are plenty that do use a CRM, and Go High Level is not the only one, but it's a great one that we chose to use.
Right.
So as far as, executing your applications, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Another huge facet of the Medicare space is compliance. Compliance. Everything, if we make a phone call to somebody or somebody calls us, we have to do a scope of appointment, which we can do in our office because, as we've talked previously, our phones record right when you pick it up to the time you hang up. So all your phone calls are recorded and held for 10 years, and that's the Medicare compliance there. But we have a digital telesales, if you will, telephone scope of appointment that we can read off that is legal, and you just get a verbal yes at the end. We have those documents for you. We have, like I said, the phone record, and then we have the disclaimer. We do not offer all the Medicare. Just anything compliance-wise, we're by the books on that. We don't walk in the gray area. It is black and white. You're either doing it or you're not. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want any of our agents or brokers getting in trouble. Last thing we want is a Section A, and that's nothing that's in our future plans. We want to stay the heck away.
Ultimately, it lands in our lap to begin with. So, part of our obligation to the agents that work with us is that we make sure they either understand, know, and are compliant. Is because Medicare is one of the more compliant insurance things out there. Life insurance, they all have some compliance, but Medicare has a lot, and we have to keep up with it daily about what's legal, what's not legal, what can you do, when can you do it, and just adhere to that. So we take that very seriously. So once we get somebody writing applications, usually the next question that either a new agent or existing agent asks is, hey, what kind of lead sources do we have access to? Now, we know that there are agents that have bought leads in the past. There's numerous vendors out there that'll take your money and that will sell you leads, and some are better than others. They're all, they all have the same purpose, that is to put you in front of a client. But tell us a little bit about the platform we have in place now that actually takes that to a different level.
Yeah, so we've tried, this is our third lead generation platform that we've researched and tried out, and I think this is going to be a killer. It's like a faucet. You turn it on, you turn it off. You could put parameters on how many calls you want per day. These are inbound phone calls.
That's important.
Which is really cool. You're not calling out anybody. You're not calling some lead that's been called 30 times. They're calling you, asking you about Medicare. Who doesn't want one of those? So Enroll Here is the platform. Really cool program. Genius, the guys that put it together. It is super successful. Everybody that's using it currently that we've talked to, it's a game changer when it comes to production. It actually has built-in AI, so it makes sure you're compliant. It scores each phone call. We can listen in, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you have questions, we're always available in office whenever people are on the system. But very low cost on the leads. They start $17 and go, upwards of around right under $40, depending on if you want a raw lead or a pre-screen lead. but super successful. The closing ratios have been really killer, 20 to 35%. Obviously, we want to be at 35 if we can, but at 20%, you're making some dollars. At 30 to 35, you're doing really well.
Yeah.
But that's a program and a platform that we have available to our agents. We got a couple other ones. One that makes in-home appointments already preset. Some people might want to invest some money into there, but this enroll here, the inbound phone calls is definitely going to be the way of the future for us.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that as we encounter, and you've read it online, people have kind of regurgitated it to you, is that they're getting 20 calls a day from vendors out there that are calling them about their Medicare. And so we hear that all the time, and sometimes it's not even a good experience because they get them on a plan they're not supposed to be on.
Mm-hmm.
What's unique about this platform is that these are people that they're actually seeking you. So they're excited or happy to talk with you because they're looking for information, advice, enrollment. So I think it's a different experience. That's why we were attracted to this platform, is that these are people that are intentional about what they're doing. They're calling you because they're saying, hey, I need some help. So I think that's going to be a really good option for our agents because, again, most of our leads or most of our clients we get organically through referrals, civic organizations that put us in front of people. But as any insurance agent knows, is you want to keep building your book of business and your pipeline. So as this podcast is actually directed to the industry, meaning if you're an agent or you're wanting to be an agent, we're trying to highlight the things that we're going to do to make you successful. So I think that is one of the things that we've been able to put together to make that journey a little better.
Yeah.
And put some clients in your lap. Now, the other thing is that we have some agent-focused materials because when you get into the business, you're like, okay, what do I need? I need business cards. I need flyers. I need whatever I need, print materials to get out, mailers to go out to my clients. Because one of the things that keeps your business running is you got to be in touch with your members. They got to hear
100%,
from you.
100%.
So let's talk about some of the materials that we put in front of our agents. And let's start with flyers and go from there.
Yeah, so we do, it's more of a mini catalog, if you will. We've put out a 16-pager, but we're going to condense that down to 8 pages, would you say? Because 16 is just a little much, it's almost like a little book. So 8 pages, we want to condense that down. But these are completely customizable per agent. So somebody can come in here and they might have a friend that's an audiologist and they want to throw in like a little educational article in there. If that's what you want to do, well, we could do that for you. We could take a headshot, put your face in there with your biography. You can make it however you want it, or you can use ours. We're about to put together one for the annual election period, and it's going to be packed with some really useful information. Yeah. And a lot of folks are going to want to use that, really. We're going to use that for sure.
And there's no cost to the agent.
Right.
So, that's really important that we put these materials in front of them. Now, this year, we have embarked on a social media journey. That's why we're here. We have a relationship with Movie Media, and they've done a great job at helping us to get information out through different, broadcasts and different outlets. So tell us a little bit about our relationship there.
So we have, like Michael said, a recording platform that we have full access to right around the corner from our office. It's actually in the next building over. So we walk here and really we have access to headshots for new agents if they want to do some new headshots for maybe a trifold, maybe for this catalog, this flyer we're talking about, or their business card, something a lot of people don't do headshots often. You might have a picture on your business card that's 15 years old. Well, that's not real accurate. I have people tell me all the time, man, that doesn't even look like you. And that's because I got a few more gray hairs.
Yeah.
But it's me. But we try to annually update our headshots now and make sure we look like our picture. Nothing like walking in the house and they're like, questioning, is that even you? It happens. Videos. So for the podcast, Michael and I do a weekly podcast, and we do bring on guest speakers such as agents or maybe a community center of influence, somebody that helps seniors in the area. We've had Chef Nino on here. We've had another lady with
Senior Prime.
Senior placement.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic interview with her. She's very helpful. What's her name?
Crystal Lacey.
Crystal Lacey. That's
Yeah.
it, Miss Lacey, right?
Yeah.
And her heart is just right where it needs to be at when it comes to the senior population. A lot of stuff she does is out of the kindness of her heart. She doesn't even get compensated on it, but she is there for the seniors to help their lives better.
Yeah.
We do little reels. If somebody wants to do like a little 2-minute pop to put on their social media, hey, this is so-and-so, AP's around the corner, just a little 2-minute quick informational. We have access to that as well. So the resources that we have when it comes to social media and recordings and videos it's bar none. I don't know if anybody that we know between Texas and Florida is doing anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly people out there that are recording,
taking it to the
from
next
their,
level.
From their phones and such. I mean, that's all good. We just got lucky and have access to the studio we have. So they're actually trying to up the game for us.
Yep.
But the important piece of that is there's no cost to the agent. It's all provided to the agent. Again, the end result is, or then, what we hope is that it gets their name out within their center of influence in their community, so people recognize that and say, I'm going to give that person a call.
That's right.
And see what they can do to help me. Now, when it comes to support beyond that, we talk about, the financial end of it, marketing dollars, because, some of the things are outside of our scope, meaning if they want to sponsor a luncheon somewhere, or they want to purchase an ad in a magazine. I mean, we'd love to do everything we can, but there are limits as to what we're allowed to or can do. And so how do we make sure we get some of those dollars in their hands?
So Michael and I made a executive decision this year that when somebody comes on with us, whether they have a team or not, they're going to get a little icing on the cake, right? They're going to get their full commissions from the carriers, but we're going to take a few dollars from our bank account and give them some marketing dollars that can be used for lead purchase, can be used for marketing online if they want to do like a little Facebook post. They can buy a laptop, anything business related. Really, it's their money to do what they want, but the intention is to grow your business. Yeah. So we encourage you to take those dollars and reinvest it in yourself, in your business, so we can get you more, get your book larger, get you growing, and then. We have some programs where we have team leads, and they have a team, and in some situations we have a marketing dollar program for the team lead that they get a little bit off the production of their agents as well. So it's if you want to grow just you or grow a whole team, we have different programs to fit those needs. Yeah,
an important part of that is that you're still going to get your commission that you were due from the carriers. We don't get involved in that anyway. But this is something on top of that for your production. So, it's an incentive to go out, almost like a bonus, go out and produce.
More. Yeah.
And that way you see a little bit extra at the end of the month that you can, at your discretion, take those dollars and use them, like you need to. So, the point of this whole conversation was, if you were out there and you were an agent and you've been doing this a while, or you are thinking about an industry that I can transition into, we're trying to make sure that what is available. And we're not the only ones that offer some of these services. There are certainly agencies out there that do it, but we're talking about right here. And I like to think we are doing a really good job at it. So we're encouraging anybody that wants to get into the business to think about what am I going to need to be successful. And then maybe
reach out to us.
Yeah,
please.
Maybe the last piece is that we do have a local office. We have one here in Baton Rouge at 7809 Jefferson Highway, and we actually have one in Alabama for a small team there in Silver Hill, Alabama. I have a hard time with that word.
That's a trick. It is a little tricky.
Yeah. So we're trying to grow that market as well. But I think the point for the local office is that there are many agencies that have an office, but it's not really open to the agents to come in and conduct business. You can go by and pick up supplies or ask questions, but our office is actually built for the agents. We have workstations, we have the internet, the printer, copier. We have all that for them. They have free access 7 days a week to come in and use it. last Saturday, I had a guy, one of our agents called and said, hey, I need to get in the office, and I forgot the code. So I just, from my phone, remotely opened the office for him. He came in and conducted business. Otherwise, he'd had to meet him at CC's coffee shop or something like that.
Right.
So I think that that's another thing that we do offer that's really beneficial to these agents is they have a professional place to land. They can bring their clients in there if they need to. A lot of them still do home visits or virtual. But so we tried to think of everything we could do to make it better for the agents in the market and offer that to them, all the while trying to do this at no cost to them, to make sure that they're not spending any marketing money on these items that we just talked about today. So if you are interested in joining Plus 65 Medicare Advisors, you can reach out to us at 225-408-4100. Our address is 7809 Jefferson Highway, Suite C6 here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So give us a call. You can reach us at info@Medicare plus65advisors.com. Just reach out to us and just come by and see if we're a fit for you. If anything, just let us kind of know you're in the market. And if it's not right now, maybe it will be later.
And look, folks, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to do it just a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, John.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Hope you enjoyed our discussion today on Plus 65 Digital. Reach out to us at info@plus65advisors.com or give us a call at 225-408-4100. Make Plus 65 Advisors part of your Medicare process.